We are in Capitol Hill, Seattle. Is it a great place to live? A terrible place to live? You might get some mixed reviews, but I'm here to show you what's going on, what the real deal here is in Seattle. My name's Maynard Wagner of the Wagner Real Estate Group. Today, I'm gonna take you around to all my favorite parts about the neighborhood. As a longtime resident and local real estate agent, you're gonna learn a lot about Capitol Hill, Seattle. But first, I gotta go walk my dog. This is the Harvard Belmont district, and it's in the northern part of Capitol Hill, just north of Broadway. On one side, you have new modern townhomes being built like this, and then you've got more historical properties like over on this side. Like that's the Bacon Mansion that's been around for quite a while. So it's this nice mix. You've also got like beautiful brick, the 1900 apartment buildings. You couldn't tell this was an apartment building. Definitely one of the unique things about Capitol Hill. It's not the most attractive looking, but it is a historical building. A big thing about Capitol Hill is the diversity. You've got tons of small apartment buildings, you know, with rent that is maybe as low as $1,000 a month, some a little bit lower. And then you've got multi-million-dollar mansions, and you've got some kind of retirement type condominiums that are like 3,000 square feet that a lot of older people stay in, you know, that can cost $4 or $5 million. And then here we're heading to Volunteer Park, which is just a couple blocks away. Capitol Hill is bordered kind of on the west side by Interstate 5, the north end by Portage Bay and Montlake neighborhood, on the east side to more of the Madison Valley neighborhood, and on the south side it's kind of Madison Avenue. Pike Pine is the southern border. So it's quite a large area. There's probably 5 neighborhoods, distinct neighborhoods or so. North Capitol Hill, 15th Ave East, 19th Ave East, the Pike Pine area, then North Capitol Hill. They all have their very distinct vibes and neighborhoods. We're in the north part of Capitol Hill right now, and this is Federal Avenue. Average home prices on Federal Avenue are $2 million and up. So now we're in a more residential neighborhood, and we just came from a very busy arterial, and now we're close to Volunteer Park. But yeah, we're in the lower part of Volunteer Park. You've got Seattle Asian Art Museum, just open fields that are really nice, walking trails, tennis courts. Yeah, it's the highest point in Seattle after another place called High Point in West Seattle. So you can see as we're walking uphill. So we've lived in Capitol Hill since December 2019. Me, Lisa, and we got Kenji in 2020. We had moved from the neighborhood of Magnolia. But prior to us moving here, I had lived in Capitol Hill for probably 10 years previously when I was single. It's a great place to live for lots of reasons. We moved here because we like the mix of residential with lots of restaurants and parks and bars, and if you're into food, you have so many restaurants all within blocks. It's a really diverse neighborhood, so you can be in this very quiet residential area with multi-million-dollar mansions. It's funny, there's the street up here, it's called Millionaires Row. Now, a $1 million house isn't as big of a deal. But probably when it originated, the Millionaires Row was a big deal. Now some of those homes can be like $7 to $10 million. They're mainly like 1900 homes, 1900, 1910, 1920s. One of them looks like the White House. It's right up here in the corner. But yeah, you've got Tudor style, Victorian style, Craftsman style, kind of a brick colonial style. And this is a good way to get exercise. As you can see, we're continuing to walk uphill. Great place for people to walk their dogs. There's no official dog park here, but in the field over there, you'll see some people letting their dogs run around. Oh, there's a squirrel. Squirrel. We're at a point where Our oldest was now off to college, gotten a UW, and we wanted to be in a more kind of vibrant area where we could walk everywhere and have restaurants, parks, all at our fingertips. So that's really it. It's so dense here with lots of options just within blocks. It's a lot of fun. Got some duck ponds here. It's cold, but they're still there. This is an old Seattle water tower up here as well. It is end of December, so everything's a little bit wet, very gray, but you can imagine in summer, it's not so muddy. There's a lot of people out here. This is one of the best Asian art museums in the US, so it just got renovated and updated. Seattle Asian Art Museum, definitely worth checking out. Not your typical museum. And this is cool too, obviously a sculpture art. So this piece of sculpture art is called the Black Sun from 1969. And part of the location design was so you could look right through the middle and it perfectly viewed and framed the Space Needle. Well, my favorite season anywhere in Seattle is summer. The trees and flowers are obviously different here in the springtime. It's beautiful. They've got some dahlia gardens and there's a conservatory up here. I mean, the park is just massive. There's a kids' playground over there with a wading pool that's good in the summer. There's a big open field and an auditorium over there for live music performances in the summer as well. So you've got that open field over there. You've got a conservatory there. A lot of people, do picnics and hang out over here. Yeah, so in 5 years, COVID has obviously changed everything. But what it's brought also is a lot more outdoor that came during the COVID time and didn't change. You can smell the squirrel, can't you? Oh, look at that. All right, buddy. He's climbed up the tree, I think. Now, Washington is very green, but it's really nice to have well cared for, right? Just park at your fingertips. There's so many places to, gather with friends, picnic, walk around, exercise, throw a football, kick a ball, throw a frisbee. Erected by the citizens of Seattle in 1909. Interesting. And it talks about Alaska, so it's not like something, that people talk about. So one of the things that is newer is we got to worry about coyotes in the area. So if you got a small dog or a small cat, there's been a couple of incidents lately. We're in the city, but, they're looking for food, I guess. And so there's one story where a woman heard about her dog screaming in the backyard, and then she found out a coyote had it. They let go, but yeah, it's a new thing. Cemetery here where Bruce Lee is buried. I've lived like all these Seattle neighborhoods, all of it. I know them really well, and I know the side streets. It's interesting because it's winter time. Right? You can just see through a lot further. But imagine in the summer when all the leaves are on the trees. It's a lot more dense and thick and a little bit more pretty, to be honest. We can't stay indoors all winter. Yeah, you can see how big the museum is from the back. Like, it's even bigger, right? For Seattle, I love Capitol Hill, but if I was to not live in Seattle, I'd move to Kirkland. It's a completely different vibe and feel. But the area of downtown Kirkland also is very walkable, access to the waterfront, but there's lots of great restaurant choices, grocery stores, and everything is walkable, and lots of nice parks as well. You got the area like west of Market. But as far as other Seattle neighborhoods, kind of like the Wallingford area, Fremont area, I'd like to be like right on the border with access to both. In the summertime, it's just much nicer to be here. So you can also go for walks really late in the day. Sun doesn't set until 10 p.m. So yeah, you can do late night walks in the wintertime. It's just normally too wet when you have a dog. Other than that, it's a great place to just walk and get fresh air. We also like to walk the neighborhoods. Right over there is 16th and 17th Avenue. Beautiful mansions. It's just like a very nice walk. Some of them really get into the holiday decorations and Halloween decorations. Some of them have incredibly manicured yards that are just immaculate. We've got the White House up here, which looks like the White House from Washington, D.C., which is a pretty cool house. All right, so here we are in a more residential part of Capitol Hill. We're just 2 blocks east of Volunteer Park. So this is 16th Ave East. This whole area just has beautiful homes originating from the 1900s, much larger lot sizes. Many of the homes are 3,000 to 4,000 square feet. On average, you're looking closer to like 1.5 to 2.5 million for this neighborhood. You can see how quiet and peaceful and residential it feels after we were just in a busy area and some of those other areas that we've been checking out. So it's one of these places that we love to go walk. That birds chirping, all the houses are beautiful. So just a nice, quiet residential neighborhood that has like a little Spanish Sago style to it. Yeah, that's kind of like French Quarter style with an upper balcony. This could be like you're in the South in New Orleans with a big front porch. Every single one is different. There are a lot of people who love the rain. If we didn't have the rain, it wouldn't be so green. So if you're coming from a dry area and you want it to stay dry, then you're in for a surprise. But, you can't get the beautiful green without the rain. So for somebody like Lisa and me, we just like to make sure that we don't go through the entire winter without living or visiting somewhere warm. It could be Mexico, scuba diving. Phoenix is easy to get to. So just having a little bit of sun helps you get through the winter months. There's also skiing. Skiing is an hour to an hour and a half away from Seattle, for 2 hours if you want to go to the better slopes. But I don't do as much, but I do sometimes, but a lot of our friends do. Within about an hour and 15 minutes, Snoqualmie Pass, 3 different ski runs, and you've got Stevens Pass, which is a little bit nicer. And then you've got Deep Powder Crystal Mountain, considered one of the best ski resorts here. So now we're back in Volunteer Park. We'll walk up by the water tower, which would be the highest point. You can get up to the water tower and you can see downtown Bellevue, downtown Seattle. You get good exercise too, walking up the steps. Back up the hill, Jordan. They're pretty steep, right? We're back kind of where we started. Yeah, so I think the cool thing about Capitol Hill, again, is you can have completely different lifestyle needs. No matter what it is, the whole neighborhood will satisfy it. You can have 2 young kids and you want to just stick to kind of the parks and the quieter areas, the residential areas, and that's perfect. You can be young and single and want to make sure that you've got all kinds of quick, faster food places at your fingertips, but they're all like small, local. But like if your budget is lower, if you like to spend your money on bars, there's plenty of bars to go to. A lot of music venues, a lot of live music, and you got, again, like apartments intermixed with mansions. Yeah, so just dropped off Kenji, took him for a nice walk around Volunteer Park, and now we're trying to figure out where should we go to lunch. There's a few good options. I'm not sure what we're in the mood for, but we're gonna check out a spot over at 19th Ave East, which is a whole nother neighborhood here in Capitol Hill. There's some cool restaurants over there. And we'll swing by maybe 15th Ave East, where you've got coffee, a bagel shop, Italian food, and then maybe stop at one of our favorite Mexican restaurants. We'll kind of see what we feel like. Having been here a long time, I've been here since the beginning of high school, end of middle school. So prior to that, my dad was in the Navy, and so I lived in places like Japan, the Philippines, Guam, the island of Guam. Yeah, Seattle area was a big change. But when we moved here, we settled here, went to University of Washington, and spent a few years in LA after University of Washington. But for the most part, I've spent most of my life in this like Capitol Hill, Queen Anne, Magnolia area neighborhood. 30 plus years now. I'm definitely considered a Seattleite since there's so many people that have moved into the area. We've gone through different evolutions of, some people don't realize that the biggest company in Seattle was Washington Mutual Bank prior to 2007. So as opposed to being a tech hub, you know, like we were kind of a banking city, believe it or not, at least downtown Seattle was. And then the whole financial crash happened. And so now, of course, who is the most dominant employer in the area? Downtown Seattle, Amazon. So, you know, we've also had Boeing, of course, and Microsoft has been around a while. We got Starbucks, Nordstrom, but now we've become a major tech hub with Apple, Google, Facebook, Dropbox, lots of tech startups, lots of venture capital funding. At least they have a presence here, right? Maybe not, you know, huge, but headquarters, yeah. So we're heading over to this eastern part of Capitol Hill, extremely residential, large mansions, $2 million, $1.5 million on the smallest side, $3 to $4 million. And some of the top private schools in the area. The public schools are not as highly rated as some other Seattle neighborhoods, but this one, for example, here, St. Joseph, beautiful, highly desirable school. It's pretty popular. Macrina Bakery and Cafe is right here as well. Smart location, actually, right across from a private elementary school and middle school. You can imagine all the families popping into the bakery beforehand or after. 19th Ave is more of a major arterial. You go off a block or two, and then you have more residential areas. So this part of 19th Ave is cool in that you have some other restaurant options, coffee options. You've got Fuel Coffee on the left, Monsoon. Definitely one of my favorite Vietnamese restaurants. 15th Ave East. So we were just at 19th. We're gonna go through this little residential area here between 19th and 15th. A lot more single family houses, not quite as expensive as the other area when we were on 16th Ave East. This one, interestingly enough, is the same street we were on, but because it's closer to 15th Ave where there's more like shops and restaurants and it's not quite as wide streets, the houses are not as nice, even though they are nice. Just a less kind of posh neighborhood is probably a good way to describe it compared to the other one. But this would not be a bad place to live at all. Capitol Hill, just in general, is not an inexpensive area to live in, given its proximity to everything. But at the same time, you've got a beautiful apartment building just like this. All right, well, we're checking out all the neighborhoods around Capitol Hill. Let's make a quick pit stop and I can show you what one of these modern townhomes looks like so you can get a feel for it. This one is currently on the market, 1,775 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 4 floors because we're in an area where zoning allows 4 stories. So it's all brand new, all modern finishes. You're gonna love it. Let's go take a look. All right, so here we are on the 2nd floor of this modern townhome, and it's got a very square layout, but this is typical of what you're gonna see with some of the features. You've got high ceilings, big windows, updated countertops. This black hardware is pretty current and modern as well. So you've got a dishwasher, stove, nice refrigerator. So this space is nice because you've got room for a dining table, and this would be your living space. So again, high ceilings, lots of windows, you know, relatively compact because these are modern townhomes and they're on 4 floors, but they typically have the space that a lot of home buyers are looking for today if they want to live in the city. Here we are on the 3rd floor, and the 3rd floor has 2 bedrooms and a shared bath, and so it makes for a great guest room or an office. On the top floor, we have a fabulous primary suite. Huge bedroom, good enough for a king-size bed, and we have a nice dual vanity bath with stand-up shower. Tall ceilings, top floor, great views of downtown Seattle. And last but not least, an unbeatable, amazing rooftop with fabulous views of downtown Seattle and the Space Needle. Now we're heading into the Pike Pine area. So if you watch the news back on the COVID days, this is just the area that was kind of taken over in the Seattle police station over there. It was the centerpiece of all things COVID. That was a time and a place, and today it is not like that. So that's the news flash for those of you who are curious about what it's like today. So we're heading over in this direction. So some interesting new spots here, which are pretty cool. This is 5 Iron Golf. So it's a golf simulator, very busy in the winter because, as you know, the weather's not great here. So this is actually for like real golfers, but also fun corporate events. We hosted the Wagner Real Estate Group, so hosted a charity event there, and all proceeds went to the Greater T of Seattle. And we had a lot of awesome participants, great prizes. Now we're in also Pine Street, Pike Pine Street. So this is Cal Anderson Park, like a park with lots of ball fields, play fields, also an unofficial off-leash dog park in the area. So every once in a while, the dog police will come and say, hey, put your dog on a leash. But practically speaking, this is it's a dog park. Molly Moon's ice cream, a personal favorite of mine. I like the Molly Moon sundae with the salted caramel ice cream and hot fudge and some type of candied hazelnuts. So it's pretty incredible. The Molly Moon's is local ice cream, natural, probably one of the first big like local ice cream shops that have, there's lots of them around here. Salt and Straw has more like unique flavors where they'll say they have like a curry ice cream. Yeah, so some really interesting takes on ice cream. Some people love it, some people like the more natural ingredients, fresh flavors of Molly Moon, so I think it's personal preference. Okay, so coming up here, one of our favorite restaurants for Lisa and me, we'll pull over real quick and show it to you. Hogan Cocina Mexicana. It's a family-run restaurant, amazing lunch specials, amazing happy hour. If you like margaritas, get their ultimate margarita. Carne asada is delicious. There are steak tacos. That's one of our favorite spots. Tons of great ramen spots here. You'll see another local Mexican restaurant that we go to quite a bit that has been here for a long time. I also got Cocina in the name, La Cocina, I think it's the name. So a couple really cool, like authentic Japanese restaurants that have been here a while. Tamari Bar. The owner, his name is Makoto, and he's also opened up Rondo over on Broadway. And both of those are like real traditional, like Japanese restaurants, but with a fun vibe. Yeah, so there's Kazuki Ramen, and Izakaya, which is a Japanese-based company, and there's a few different locations here in Seattle. There's Oink Ramen, Oink, O-O-I-N-K Ramen. They have this like one certain spice to it that is like a black garlic ramen spice to it. It kind of numbs your tongue a little bit. So now we're heading into the Melrose Market. It's called the Melrose Market area. So we're on Melrose Avenue right now. So we're very close to downtown Seattle, probably just a couple blocks. So you have Melrose Market here with a few different restaurants here. Rain Shadow Meats. You've got Taylor Shellfish Farms, which is local oysters, local seafood. You've got Mamnoon here, which is a Mediterranean restaurant. Came from Vancouver, British Columbia. So Mamnoon, Mediterranean. Terra Plata, which is one of the first Seattle like farm-to-table restaurants, where all the ingredients are farm to table. One of the best rooftop decks in the city with a heated patio, and right next to the Starbucks roastery. So if you don't like regular Starbucks, you can actually get really good high quality Starbucks coffee here. They have a cocktail bar where you can get a flight of different espresso style martinis. Bakery, lots of good options. Another Vic Frola, stateside, awesome Vietnamese restaurant. And so what's funny about that, there's a garage door right there. But when that garage door is open, there's an opening door that goes downstairs to a speakeasy called 4 National. You can get get a lot more places driving, huh? Incredibly fast. One of the great things about Capitol Hill is there is public transportation everywhere, including easy access to freeways if you're driving. So right now we're on Broadway. There is a streetcar that goes all the way from here downtown into the International District. So you could take the streetcar into downtown. There's bike paths, bike lanes if you work downtown like many people do if they're in tech, Amazon, and of course many other companies. Super easy access to downtown. Maybe like a 15-20 minute walk depending on what part you're in. Or there are bus lines that go directly into downtown also. We're getting close to the Capitol Hill light rail station. If you want to actually take the light rail into downtown because you work downtown, that is probably a 4-minute light rail ride to the first stop downtown. So incredibly easy. They're building out light rail from Seattle to the east side. So if you worked in downtown Bellevue, for example, you could take the light rail into downtown and then the light rail downtown into Bellevue. And I don't know exactly what that time would be, but you could consistently guarantee your commute. As far as freeway access goes, if you're driving a car and you work in Bellevue, you work in Redmond, if you leave at a good time of day, you can get there in roughly 20 minutes. Pretty fast to get to the east side. There's light rail that goes all the way into SeaTac Airport, so also easy. Could be an hour drive in rush hour, or you could take the 35 minutes light rail into downtown Seattle. Pretty affordable. I don't know what it is, couple bucks, probably $3, but yeah. Many companies, if you work for a company, they offer the Orca Pass, which is free transportation on the light rail. So yeah, here we are, Dick's Burger. They're into music like Macklemore, local Seattle music legend. He had a big music video shot here. Here we are at the Capitol Hill Light Rail Station. So we often take it to north to the University of Washington Husky games. All right, you want to know why me and Lisa love Capitol Hill? So we live 1.5 blocks that way. And so here we are, the corner of Broadway and Roy. We have Rapport, Seattle's first self-pour wine bar. Awesome appetizers and food, great wine. We have Deluxe Bar and Grill, our neighborhood bar and grill, where we have an amazing happy hour. You can get a burger for $8, awesome old fashions. Across the street, you've got Corello, Italian. Right next to Deluxe Bar and Grill, you've got Altura. If you need to impress a date, Altura is one of your best spots. And then our favorite local neighborhood sushi spot, Aoki Sushi Bar and Grill. So much at your fingertips. Let's go take a look. This is Dreamscapes Massage. It's where I get my massages if I ever get them, but that's awesome. Here's Altura, the high-end restaurant. Having lived in Japan, Ishoni Yakiniku is a Japanese steakhouse. Essentially what that means is they serve you Wagyu beef, all kinds of different cuts of beef, and you grill it right in front of you. So incredibly delicious, and again, right here at your fingertips. I would highly recommend to finish your meal with the A5 Sushi Wagyu bite. It's incredible. Right, so their donuts are made of mochi. They're just a little bit more chewy. They're not too sweet, and then they're famous for their bubble tea as well. Another good spot. Corvus and Company, neighborhood cocktail bar, locally owned owner. You wouldn't think it, but they have these dumplings, which are as good as any dumpling place I've ever been to. So if you like Din Tai Fung, if you like real dumplings, you gotta get dumplings here. And cocktails. Getting dark. All right, as you can see, it's hard to pick a favorite restaurant, but for me and Lisa, this has to be up there as one of our favorites. It is Star Sushi and Bar. It's, again, a family-owned restaurant, and they're owned by Mongolians, and they opened right after COVID, so pretty challenging for them, but you would be surprised and amazed at the menu that they have. It is one of those places that does a variety of things well. There is sushi, there's great cocktails, there's Mongolian food, there's Chinese food, other different appetizers that are Japanese. So awesome spot, and what's maybe most important is the people are incredibly friendly. If you're lucky, you can maybe get your dog in as well. They've got a great patio out here. for summertime. So just an enjoyable spot. Check out their Google reviews. There's not too many places that have like 4.9 with hundreds of reviews. That says it all right there. All right, well, that wraps up our tour of Capitol Hill, my home neighborhood. Hope that you got some good insights into what it feels like to live here. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out. Would love to share any information that would help you decide whether this is a great place to live. Comment below, give me a call, 206-369-8201. Would love to hear from you.